Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, and welcome to another edition of Golden Gopher Hockey. I'm Jack Bartlett, joined again by Tim Serb up here in the broadcast booth as the Golden Gophers play their second game and their last game of the regular season against the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. And in last night's game, it was an entertaining first period, to say the least. The Gophers put in 5 goals against Notre Dame netminder Nicholas Kempf. He was removed from the game, and Owen Say filled in his place and stopped all 22 shots that he faced en route to a 5-2 Golden Gopher victory. And really just that first period stood out last night. The Gophers probably aren't going to have such a hot start this afternoon as we roll into tonight, so this should make for a much more interesting and a much more dynamic contest than last night.
Yeah, and you definitely can't bank on the Gophers getting 5 goals in one period. And really after that first period, the Gophers kind of looked flat for most of the rest of the game, not really putting too much pressure on Owen Say, even though he did have those 22 stops. The Gophers did have a couple of breakaway opportunities that they could not convert. Oliver Moore had a very good opportunity to get a goal as well, but the Gophers could not convert on any of those in the rest of the game. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out tonight, because Notre Dame's defense looked utterly fantastic throughout the rest of the game.
I wouldn't say their defense looked fantastic. I would say they looked better, because the Golden Gophers still put up 46 shots on the two Fighting Irish netminders, 24 in the first period alone, scoring 5 of those, of course, and then 10 and 12 in the second and third period. So even though Notre Dame's defense stepped up to the plate, I think Owen Say was really the man who kept them in the game, and he'll get the nod this afternoon as well. And he made some outstanding saves, like you said. Those 2 breakaways was really well, moving really well laterally is what I noticed, because that's kind of how the Golden Gophers got to Kempf, is moving him laterally and getting those cross-ice passes and then cleaning up loose change in front. And with Liam Souliere, who will be in between the pipes for the Golden Gophers, he's 8-3-0 on the season, 18 goals allowed, a 1.59 goals allowed average, and a .938 save percentage for the Penn State graduate transfer. He's been outstanding this season, working with Nathan Airy in tandem, but I could see Souliere having the larger share of the big games if he continues to produce at the level that he is.
Yeah, and Souliere, I mean, we know Airy didn't have to stop very many shots last night, but I think Souliere is going to be much busier tonight. Notre Dame having a game to get back into the flow against the Gophers. They did put up 3 goals in each of the games in November. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with Souliere behind the...
Yeah, and Souliere is a shorter goaltender in terms of size these days in the NHL. He's only 5'11", so similar size to Justin Close, whereas every single goaltender from the Fighting Irish is over 6'2". Airy is 6'3", and it's just simply that everybody loves to shoot high these days, and when you have those shorter goaltenders, it's really hard for them to throw shoulders out there, and those taller goaltenders can really just size up and square up and take away anything that's up in the air. So we'll have to see how Liam Souliere does against the Fighting Irish. They made a couple changes to their lines that we'll announce as we get closer to game time. The Golden Gophers also subbed August Falloon in for Jimmy Clark and mixed up the defensive lines a little bit as well. We'll get into that closer to game time, but if you're looking at the Golden Gophers and the body of work that they put on last night, the first period, granted there were a couple lucky bounces, notably the Snuggerud cleanup, the first goal that they scored, and even Cal Thomas, John Middlestat had ones that were a bit of a scramble in front. But if your team's going to continue to succeed and continue to grow in college hockey, you're going to need to put away those sloppy, kind of almost lucky opportunities, and that'll do dividends hustling to loose pucks in front of the net and just throwing something towards whatever netminder's in front of you.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we saw out of Notre Dame's first goal. Paul Fisher seeing the opportunity with the puck right under Nathan Airy, just went in and cleaned up before any of the Gophers even saw that the puck was sitting there. And really, I think the Gophers saw a lot of success just having 3 or 4 guys shade to one side of the ice, leaving somebody open, because all of Notre Dame's defenders would focus on whatever side Jimmy Snuggerud was on when he was in. And that was just where the Gophers found just tremendous amount of pressure that they could put on the goalie. Kemp, as we said, not very good at moving laterally. And the Gophers just put 5 goals behind them.
Yeah, and if you look at the Golden Gophers shot chart from yesterday, something that really stands out, they took a hefty amount of shots in the slot. Just doing a rough estimate, the slot being the edges of the post to the tops of the circles, they probably had 10 slot opportunities, so they were really getting a lot of those in the first period. Notre Dame comparatively had maybe 4 or 5 shots, so the Gopher defense really did a good job of forcing them out of those high danger opportunities. And the Gophers also shaded heavily towards the blocker side. Probably 70% of their shots came to the goaltender's blocker side. So there was clearly an emphasis on getting the left wings involved in the offense, or just really pushing up that left side, regardless of what kind of plan of attack they had. They also attempted 78 shots, 42 of those, over half came in the first period. They actually had as many shot attempts in the first period as the Fighting Irish had the entire game, with 42 as well. I think that the defense might have to get a little more involved and be better at clearing the zone. We said as we were walking over here to 3M Arena, Tim and I did, that the defense, especially later on in the game, was sloppy with zone exits, and that's really what has cost them in a couple of the bigger games, like against Michigan State, and especially in that comeback game against Michigan State. There was just no ability to clear the zone, defensemen or offensemen, winning board battles or just simply getting it outside the blue line, what seemed like a really tall task, and sometimes the Golden Gophers can fall into that defensively.
Yeah, and almost what I saw yesterday was that the Gophers lost control of the neutral zone, really, making some sloppy passes, not really hanging onto the puck, especially when they had it in the zone, and just letting Notre Dame get the opportunities that they shouldn't have. And the Gophers, they should be controlling the puck for probably 70% of this game, if not more. And so it'll be interesting to see if the Gophers can come back to that identity that they really had in the first period yesterday. I don't think the puck really left the Gophers zone for almost the entire period.
As the Golden Gophers take the ice, they'll be wearing their alternate yellow jerseys with the retro Goldie Gopher maroon breezers and gold helmets. Notre Dame wearing the same uniforms as yesterday, the navy tops, navy bottoms, and the shiny gold helmets as well. Go through the starting lineups. Tim, you want to do the Fighting Irish?
Yeah, for the Irish, they are putting out almost the same lineup as yesterday. Number 13, Brennan Ali, Danny Nelson, and Ian Murphy as forwards, same as yesterday. Paul Fisher and Zach Plasinski, who was on the third line yesterday, up to the first line for the defenseman for the Irish. And as we mentioned earlier, Owen Say in front of the net for the Irish.
Then for the Golden Gophers, it'll go Zemer, Paulson, and Snuggerud on the first line. Zemer joins his 2 line mates, and all 3 of those guys have been drafted to the NHL team, and an NHL team. Then Connor Kurth, Oliver Moore, Matthew Wood on the second line. August Falloon, the assistant captain Aaron Huglin, and Brody Lamb on the third line. And then fourth line, Beckett Hendrickson, one of the players that we said played outstanding yesterday, alongside John Middlestad, another goal scorer, and Mason Nevers. Then defense, Kester Gruba, Cal Thomas, Ryan Chesley, Luke Middlestat, Sam Renzel, and John Whipple, the extra skater. Owen Say on the season, like we said, 6-8-0, 924 save percentage, 2.78 goals allowed average. And the starting lineup will read as Tim read off. The first line of Ali, Nelson, Murphy, and then the Oilers prospect Paul Fisher. He actually got drafted by the St. Louis Blues and then was traded to Edmonton. And Zach Plusinski, the graduate student from Eagle River, Alaska. So we'll see what the Golden Gophers do opposing the Notre Dame first line. They didn't really have any particular line matchups that they liked and that they stuck to consistently last night, or at least that I could tell.
Yeah, and what I can see is that today, with the second line that they're going to put out, that's where they want to do most of their damage. They got Justin Janicki, Cole Knuble, and Blake Biondi, who all have had fantastic seasons thus far on that second line to combat Kurth, Moore, and Wood. And we'll see if the Irish can really take advantage of a single line, because it looked like the Gophers outplayed them in every single aspect like up and down the lineup, especially in the third and fourth lines. The Gophers' fourth line had 3 of the goals yesterday, so we'll see if they can continue that.
I think for the Golden Gophers, getting that second line going, they were pretty slow. The majority of the Kurth Moore Wood line, you sub in Brody Lamb there, but that line was definitely a step behind. I mean, Oliver Moore had 7 shots on goal, so he was contributing plenty, but didn't end up putting anything past either of the Fighting Irish netminders. Liam Souliere between the pipes for the Golden Gophers, graduate student from Montreal, Quebec. And Luke Middlestat and Sam Renzel will be the starters on defense. Middlestat from Eden Prairie and Sam Renzel from Chanhassen. Between the two of them, they've got 38 points on the season. Middlestat hasn't scored yet, but has 14 assists. And they will start with that new look second line. Connor Kurth, Oliver Moore, and Matthew Wood. Kurth from Lidstrom, Minnesota, leads all of college hockey at plus 27. Oliver Moore, 18 points with 5 goals and 13 assists for the Blackhawks prospect. And then Matthew Wood, the only Canadian native of the skaters, at least, from Nanaimo, British Columbia, tied with Jimmy Snuggerud for the team lead with 18 assists. Bob Motzko was impressed with the Golden Gophers' performance in the first. It was one of the most complete periods that they had played all season. Let's see if they can repeat it after the national anthem. Carla Lentz with a great job on the national anthem, as always. Student section about 60% full. Still a lot of kids that haven't come back, and they saw the blowout in the first game, maybe decided that their Saturday afternoons and nights would be better spent elsewhere. Otherwise, around the stadium, we're probably at 70% capacity, I would guess. There's plenty of fans dotting the stands, mostly wearing darker colors, as air temperature in Minnesota right now is about 7 degrees. It's a cold one, and it feels like Minnesotan hockey weather. Tim hit on his prediction pregame last game with Jimmy Snuggerud scoring. I didn't have time to make one, and Snuggerud buried 2. So, Tim, you're up 1-0 in the season series. You can't go with Snuggerud again. Who do you got tonight?
You know, I'm going to go with the guy that I think had a less than desired game yesterday, Connor Kurth. He's going to bounce back. He was +1 yesterday, but he's going to bounce back, and he's going to put 1 behind the net, and Oliver Moore is also going to get 1 behind the net.
I'm going to go with Eric Paulson. He's played in 15 games this season, just 2 goals to his name, but when he's playing alongside Ziemer and Snuggerud, he might be the third guy that the Notre Dame defensemen are paying attention to, the freshman from Landstranka, Sweden. And he was injured earlier on. Predators prospect, played in Dubuque at the USHL. As the puck is dropped, and we're underway from downtown Minneapolis. Danny Nelson in the offensive zone for the Fighting Irish, loses it, and now Matthew Wood breaks out 2-on-2 with Kurth. Kurth chips it in. Say settles it down behind the net. Looks like Matthew Wood wanted to intercept that, but Rinzel holds it in at the point. Down low for Wood. Goes around a stick check from Zach Plusinski and rings the boards once again for Sam Rinzel. Kurth taken down in a heap in the corner, 2 and 2 either side. Oliver Moore tried to play it back to the point, but it deflects off of an Irish player and all the way down. Chesley regroups and off the boards for Snuggerud. The Gophers put the first line out there quickly. Kumlin in the defensive zone for the Irish. Snuggerud a turnover. Zemer behind the leg. Snuggerud fires. It's loose in front. And nobody can see it. Owen Say may have almost pushed that in. It fought its way through his left armpit almost and looked like it was lying on the goal line, and Snuggerud almost had his third of the weekend.
Yeah, Snuggerud gets that puck, shoots it right off his left shoulder, it looks like, and then it was just floating around right by Owen Say's left skate, but the Gophers couldn't get in there. That was an opportunity they would have had if they could have gotten to it.
Almost identical to Notre Dame's first goal last night. Notre Dame chips the face-off win out of the zone. Cal Thomas has to regroup in the Gophers' defensive zone. Another stretch pass ahead. This offense looking to stretch the field. A sharp angle shot from Eric Paulson flutters weakly off of Owen Say's stick. And now Cole Knuble, good move around Cal Thomas, puts on the brakes, finds Biondi, and he has to pinch below the net. Point-to-point, Hellewell fanned on the shot after he was pressured by Snuggerud, and now Janicki on it in the far corner. Loose puck there for Notre Dame, passed out to the slot. Looked like Biondi was open, but a good stick by Ryan Chesley prevents that opportunity. Gophers in the midst of a change. Notre Dame trying to catch in transition as the Fighting Irish change as well. Silanoff dumps it down. Leo Gruba, the freshman from Lake Elmo, Minnesota, the first one on it for the Golden Gophers. Now the Irish look to establish some zone presence. They only had 5 shots in the first period last night and obviously gave up those 5 goals. After their initial goal, it really was a struggle just to get consistent zone time and therefore consistent offense. Mike Kester spins a blind pass around the boards. Aaron Huglin with that white stick picks it up. One of the assistant captains for the Golden Gophers, along with Cal Thomas, and then the 4 captains, Snuggerud, Nevers, Kester, Chesley. 17:06 remaining in period number 1. Still just 2 shots for the Golden Gophers, none for the Fighting Irish in what has been another back and forth start, similar to how the second and third periods looked. Fourth line breaking out now. John Middlestad along the close wing. Tried to slide a pass. Hendrickson almost put it in the back of the net, and I think that might have hit Mason Nevers out front. Really good passing play. Middlestad with a long shot in from the point. That's sticked away by Axel Kumlin, but another great opportunity for Beckett Hendrickson, who had 6 shots on goal, had 2 assists in the game last night as well. He has a long dump-in pass that Say is able to hold on or able to block away. Chesley, outlet pass now Connor Kurth. Along the far circle, wraps the net, tried to wrap around Oliver Moore on the backhand. Had a golden opportunity there. If he was a right-handed shot, that might be in the back of the net. Hellewell regroups for the Fighting Irish. Gophers already on top 5-0 in the shots department early on again. They've played much more consistent in their defensive zone, really negating any Fighting Irish opportunities, and their outlet passes have looked much better today, Tim.
Yeah, it honestly looks like the Gophers are just really all over this puck, all over the entire game early. Notre Dame looks like they're just running around like a cat out of a bag. The Gophers just haven't gotten those shots to go in yet. They've had a couple golden opportunities, as you said.
Knuble back pass for Janicki pinching in. Another block by Cal Thomas. He has really stepped up in these last couple games. His defensive play has seriously impressed me. Paulson with speed. Oh, a pass there from Zemer. Too high, and Paulson couldn't glove and drop and get a shot away. Kester keeps it in at the point. Paulson down low for Zemer. First line out there. Zemer fires. Save Say, and he absorbs that one.
Yeah, and honestly, early on, this one looks a lot like the first period yesterday, in my opinion. Shot 6-0 in favor of the Gophers. Notre Dame has just not been able to get the puck out of the zone, and Minnesota's just putting a ton of pressure on early.
First line will stay out there for the Gophers. Opposing them will be Strand, Silinoff, and Slaggert. 3 S's. Snuggerud helps out Paulson on the draw. Now at the point, long shot in, blocked out front by Henry Nelson, twin brother of Danny Nelson. As the Gophers regroup in their defensive zone and look for a set play, but good pass interception there by Silinoff, who's hit into the boards by Zemer. Intercepted Zemer's pass, a little payback there. Slaggert down low, close corner, turned it over to Jimmy Snuggerud. Snuggerud tried to find Paulson on the other side, and Notre Dame's going to be offsides as Slaggert pinches in a little early. But 14:32 remaining first period. Notre Dame still yet to put a shot in on Liam Souliere. They've had chances and they've had zone time, but the Gopher defense in front has really pushed the Fighting Irish to the boards and forced them to work point to point and as far away from their netminder as possible. Irish control the draw. Biondi deflects it down and across the long red line. Renzel outlet for Lamb. Pass was too hot to handle. And the Fighting Irish try and counterattack. Janicki in, maybe a shot opportunity. There it is, and a shoulder save by Souliere. Caught him a little off guard. It was a really good backhand shot by Janicki in 1-on-2 behind the defense. Hellewell up ahead. Knubel tries to find Janicki. Really good stick block there from Luke Mittelstadt out front, denying Biondi a chance with it against Souliere. Knubel pinches it out as Notre Dame's starting to find some offensive spark with their second line. Hendrickson turns it over again as the Golden Gophers can't quite get it out of their defensive end. Renzel will try and solve that, launches it ahead, but it's the lip of the boards and winds up with the Fighting Irish once again. Plusinski chips it in, but Mittelstadt ahead and out of the reach of Hendrickson. Hendrickson looked like he wanted that pass farther outside. Nevers wins a board battle. Hendrickson regroups for the Golden Gophers once again. Not a lot of stoppages so far in the game. Now 12:53 and counting remaining in period number 1. Notre Dame still playing that 1-2-2 defensive structure where they have one offenseman and then 2 layers of defense to try and slow down the Gopher attack. Here comes Danny Nelson, chip and chase. Oliver Moore trying to outrace Brendan Ali to the puck. And the fight for it along the benches. Connor Kurth controls, almost found Oliver Moore on a breakaway opportunity. Danny Nelson keeps it in. Gives it to his brother, a shot in, and they score! Ian Murphy with an outstanding tip from right in front of Liam Souliere. He had essentially no chance. And for the 4th consecutive game against the Fighting Irish, they break the ice.
Yeah, and over those last few minutes, the tide really turned. Notre Dame keeping the puck in the zone. They're just able to keep that offensive pressure on. Could have found more on the outlet, but Danny Nelson was able to keep it in, and the Irish capitalize on that opportunity, and they lead 1-0.
Yeah, tough break for Souliere there. Really no chance for him, and the defensive box out wasn't great. Just a strong shot from the point. That's Murphy from Strand alone. And Notre Dame right back on the attack. The Golden Gophers able to shut down that opportunity. Last night when Notre Dame scored first, the Gophers came right back, and now they have a chance to go right back, 3-on-2. Zemer, Snuggerud tried to find Paulson in front. That was played well by the Fighting Irish defenseman. I don't know who got a stick on that, but really effective job. Janicki turns it over again. Snuggerud absorbs a hit, keeps his feet, and gets bumped once more. Now in the offensive zone, tried to dance around Janicki. Gruba keeps it in and just slings it towards the far boards to keep the pressure on. Gophers starting a line change. Huglin out front for Falloon. He's taken down by Silanoff on the play. No call coming, and Falloon just kind of tripped. Shot in on Soulier, deflected high by Aaron Huglin off Hunter Strand's stick. Now Silanoff below the cage. Worked up to the point, Plusinski. And that shot finds its way into the netting. 11:08 remaining period number 1. Golden Gophers don't get as quick of a response as they did last night, but
yeah, definitely had an opportunity to, but just couldn't capitalize as they tried to find Paulson down there coming in on the left side of Owen Say. But an interesting thing to note, Notre Dame has now taken the lead 1-0 in each of the 4 matchups against the Gophers this year.
Although the Golden Gophers have won all of those matchups, it hasn't been convincing, and it hasn't been easy in any of them. Notre Dame is a very stout defensive team when playing from in front. Kester regroups for the Golden Gophers in their own zone. Long stretch pass finds Aaron Huglin. And now it's Ian Murphy, the goal scorer, in the offensive zone. Rinzel shuts down that opportunity, and the Gophers look to break out. Pass ahead misses Lamb and Falloon, and that'll be an icing against the Gophers.
One of the keys to the game that I talked about yesterday was the Gophers' response to giving up a goal. And so far today, they wanted that aggressiveness, but since that early opportunity right after the goal, they really haven't been able to control anything, and Notre Dame's just been all over the puck.
Aaron Huglin on the draw against Jaden Davis. Notre Dame slightly better than the Golden Gophers, and they win the draw. Slap pass and a good block out front on a touch pass from Nelson to Carpenter by Rinzel. Jaden Davis along the close boards, pinched off by Rinzel. Falloon just does get it out of the zone. Huglin can't quite hold on to it, and Maddox Fleming chips it into the Golden Gopher defensive zone. 5-man change for the Fighting Irish. Just 2 shots on goal, but one of those finding its way past Liam Soulier. Hendrickson down low. Supported Middlestat. And Mason Nevers and Middlestat play a bit of catch as the Gophers try and generate some offensive zone time. Luke Middlestat shot in from the point. Got to clarify between the two brothers, Luke and John. Notre Dame again plays their defensive structure well, and the Gophers can't establish any zone time. They had easily the better start, but as of late have not been able to keep the puck in the zone. Hendrickson loses it to Janicki, but not before the Fighting Irish actually do just keep the zone. Another strong defensive play by Luke Middlestat to deny an opportunity from Knuble. Chesley behind the net, fighting for it. Mason Nevers has to flip it out of the zone. It'll bounce and wind up all the way down. That'll be an icing against the Golden Gophers with 8:54 remaining in period number 1. Guess we won't head to the mid-period break.
Yeah, the Gophers are just getting out-skated here. The guys that are on the ice have been on the ice for at least a minute and a half now. They look very tired after that icing. See if the Gophers are able to clear the zone and change.
Notre Dame wins the draw. Fisher a clap bomb at the point. Blocker saves Soulier and smacked out of harm's way by Luke Middlestat. That drew a couple oohs and ahs from the crowd. Notre Dame on the attack once again. Carter Slager, top of the circle. Shoulder save Soulier up into the netting. And now we will head to the mid-period break. 8:37 remaining period number 1. Notre Dame breaks the ice with a goal from Ian Murphy. His 3rd on the season and 38th in his collegiate career. Was a transfer from Princeton from Hunter Strand. We'll be back from Minneapolis. You're listening to Radio K Sports. Welcome back to Minneapolis. 1-0 Fighting Irish. And maybe an opportunity. Rinzel 2-on-1 with Kurth. Looking for the pass. He shoots. Glove saved by Owen Say, and he covers up. Played very well by Owen Say, denying Owen Say and the defenseman who was back, because he did not want Connor Kurth getting that puck. Wanted to make Rinzel shoot it, and Say came up big.
Yeah, it looks like that was Maddox Fleming, if I'm right. Maybe Plasinski. But Owen Say standing strong yet again, just denying one of those breakaway opportunities from Rinzel.
I said it last game, but Rinzel's been on a scoring tear. That would have been his 10th of the season had he put it past Owen Say, and his 12th in a Golden Gopher sweater. And him and Chesley have been offensive standouts for this season. They've got 40 points between the two of them in 50 games, which for a defenseman is quite impressive, especially in college hockey where so offenseman focused, and the offensive defensemen really have yet to kind of develop as scorers, especially. Kurth outlet pass for Matthew Wood. Gives it to Rinzel, who can't dump it in far enough, and Notre Dame takes over possession. Murphy backhand flips it in. Rinzel for Middlestad, and Matthew Wood begins a breakout. Paulson onside, glove save, and was loose there. Say looked like it handcuffed him, may have hit him up high. Janicki on a loose puck. In the slot, chance for Silanoff. Or Blake Biondi, rather. Robbed. Snuggerud with speed around his man. Backhand, forehand, he scores! Jimmy Snuggerud with an elite one-man show. His third on the weekend, and the Golden Gophers tie it up at 1.
Yeah, Jimmy Snuggerud with no regard for human life. Oh my goodness, comes in from the right side, stops on a dime, just gets it past Owen Say, which is the first time the Gophers have been able to get a goal past him this weekend. And we are tied here with 7:27 left in the first.
Just danced his way around number 21, Jaden Kerr, the extra skater for the Fighting Irish, and almost no chance out front for Owen Say. That's Snuggerud's 15th of the season from Brody Zemer. Continues his torrid pace. Notre Dame in their offensive zone. Hellawell at the point. Passes the other way for Slaggert as the Golden Gophers tie it up once more. Jimmy Snuggerud's 57th in a Golden Gopher sweater. I mean, your prediction, Tim, wouldn't have been too bad if you would have just copied and pasted, even though I didn't allow you to do that. Jimmy Snuggerud is just that kind of scorer, that kind of player. Aaron Huglin down low. Regrouping for the Golden Gophers defensively. Notre Dame turns it over. Huglin almost gets to a loose puck, and now he does with some help from Brody Lamb, but Silanoff's able to pinch him off. Ryan Chesley for Mike Kester along the close boards. Outlet pass for Brody Lamb across the line. Dodges a hit. Now for Paulson. Spins back and to the point. Cal Thomas long shot in. Just wide of Owen Say. Maddox Fleming is hit into the boards by Cal Thomas. Almost got dumped right into Nathan Airy's lap. Hunter Nelson a shot from the point. That's wide of Soulier. Davis in the far corner, excuse me. A little bit of a voice crack. Now for Fleming up to the point. Snuggerud wanted to jump on that one. Long shot in and a backhand save, or a rebound save by Liam Soulier on the stick of Jaden Davis, who was eagerly awaiting that rebound. Snuggerud dumps it in and will head off on a change. Boy, that was a dangerous opportunity for Jaden Davis, who was left alone out front on the deflection, and Soulier made a right pad save. Danny Nelson in the close corner, pinched off by Middlestad and Rinzel, and now Hendrickson starts an outlet play. Mason Nevers along the far boards, now into the far corner for the Golden Gophers, right in front of the Golden Gopher student section. Helped by Middlestat. Now Hendrickson pinched off in the team's board battle. Hendrickson, short pass out front. Luke Middlestat, or John Middlestat rather, almost had an opportunity in the slot. Renzel dancing with it. Soft shot in, easily sticked away by Onsei. John Middlestat keeps the pressure on for the fourth line. Nevers. Renzel dangles, shoots in, soft shot, scramble for it. Hendrickson might be on the puck in front. Referees haven't blown the whistle, and Notre Dame finally works it out. Boy, a chaos in front of Onsei on just a light shot by Renzel. Looked like he either wanted a deflection or find its way past the Fighting Irish netminder, but nothing going.
Yeah, it looked like Hendrickson had a golden opportunity to try and put it in after Say got the initial stop, but I think he fell right on top of it and nobody could get it. I feel bad for Hendrickson. I think he just took about 7 or 8 sticks to the chest.
4 minutes remaining in period number 1. 1-1 game, 11-6 read the shots on goal. Kurth, top of the far circle in his skates and couldn't handle it. Tried to find Matthew Wood on the back door. Knuble breaks out. Slowed up there by Ryan Chesley. Now possible 2-on-2 brewing. Kurth with Moore. Moore gives help, but nobody on the spin around blind pass as Knuble intercepts. Knuble solo effort into the close corner. Turned over by Cal Thomas. Passes around the boards. Fisher's the first one on it there for the Fighting Irish. Knuble in the circle, in the slot. Fired high of the shoulder of Soulier. Biondi loses the puck to Cal Thomas, who briefly chips it out. As Fisher yet again regroups. Better second part to the first period than the Golden Gophers had in the middle part.
Yeah, definitely more offensive minded, and even when Notre Dame has gotten into their zone, been able to clear usually pretty quickly.
Plusinski is shot in, deflected, and it may have been sitting an opportunity as Kester tied up Hunter Strand out in the front. Fisher scored a goal last night. His shot was blocked, but his save by Soulier off Silanoff after he actually blocked his own man's shot. Another shot in. Slaggert sticked away by Soulier. Fight for it along the far boards. Couple good opportunities there for this Notre Dame third line. As Landon Slaggert, or Carter Slaggert, brother of Landon Slaggert, who graduated last season. Mikey Kester dumps it into the offensive zone for the Gophers, and Notre Dame plays that really well. They've been very sound on the dump-in coverages, especially early on in this game to prevent any Golden Gopher offense. Zemer, good move. His shot, pad save, Onsei. Couple toe drag moves there by Zemer. Snuggerud behind the net, looking for number 4 on the weekend, to the point for Renzel. Renzel looking for a shot, doesn't see it, has to find Zemer on the far boards. Gives it down low for Snuggerud. 1:30 remaining in period number 1. Snuggerud farther down. Notre Dame has possession. Davis almost gave it right back to Snuggerud. Gophers can't keep the offensive zone. Middlestat wasn't quick enough, but Renzel keeps the pressure on. Dumped in, now the fourth line coming on for the Golden Gophers. Shots read 12-9. We have a minute left in period number 1. It's been more back and forth, not really consistent zone time for either team, but they have both deposited one behind each netminder. Chesley turnover, one-time opportunity there for Murphy, blockered aside by Soulier. Long stretch pass, tried to find Hendrickson, and that'll be an icing.
And Notre Dame got into their zone and was able to put some pressure, but Soulier stays strong as Notre Dame's now up to 10 shots on goal in the period, which is almost their total from the entire game yesterday.
Middlestat off the face-off win. Flops it out of the zone. Jursev scored his first career goal in collegiate hockey as he clears, but Middlestat turns over. Onsei almost put that in the back of his net. Boy, did not look comfortable playing that with his stick. I've seen that happen a couple times. Good stick by Middlestat. Kurth with speed. Far circle, glove save. Say.
Yeah, Onsei almost had me caught there. I thought he was actually going to dump it into his own net, and that would have been one heck of a mistake for Notre Dame. But he stays strong and takes that slap shot from Connor Kurth. So there's 14.4 left in this period.
Kurth, more Wood out there for the Golden Gophers alongside Gruba and Kester. Tie up off the draw. Wood fires, save, say, and he holds again. There's a couple times, I think maybe twice last game, there was one of the goals, I think Snuggerud's second, that came right off the faceoff. And Wood pinches in from the right wing and finds a loose puck after Moore and Hunter Strand tie up on the draw. Gophers will put Snuggerud on the ice. Almost a power play setup here as they look to give him a one-time opportunity with 10.7. Oliver Moore removed from the face-off dot. Matthew Wood will have to take his place. Tie up, goes to the corner. Moore, oh, he tried to fight Snuggerud on the one-timer. Biondi intercepted. 3 seconds, 2 seconds, he fires just wide of Souliere, and the time expires. 1-1 first period. The Golden Gophers don't quite put in 5, but they tie it up after Notre Dame opens the scoring. Tim, what do you think of the period?
You know, it honestly looked a lot sloppier overall for both teams. Neither team really able to control their own zone. And we have a tie game. Honestly, I think that's what I would expect after a period like that. The Gophers' defense kind of just looks sloppy out there. And luckily, Notre Dame could only get it behind the net one time. Souliere staying very strong.
We'll do our break and be back. Get you ready for the second period. Jack and Tim, you're listening to Radio K Sports. Welcome back, Golden Gopher Hockey on Radio K Sports. Jack Bartlett, Tim Serb up here in the broadcast booth, and we've got a tie game, 1-1 after one period. Golden Gophers ahead 14-11 on the shot chart. Tim, how did we get there?
Yeah, Notre Dame put the first one behind the net with 12:17 remaining. Ian Murphy with that tip, assisted by both of the Nelson twins, Henry and Danny. The Gophers responded just about 5 minutes later. Jimmy Snuggerud with a sweet move, assisted by both Brody Zemer and Eric Paulson.
That was a bit of a scoring change there, I noticed, but looking at kind of how that period went, Gophers started out hot, cooled off in the middle, then had a little bit of a spurt near the 7-minute mark after the TV timeout. But what we really noticed is the Gophers had 16 shot attempts and 14 of them found their way to Owen Say. So they've been doing really well at creating open looks at the Fighting Irish netminder, but just haven't been able to get more than one past him. I mean, Snuggerud's effort was on the rush and obviously a solo effort, like I said on the call, but they haven't been able to establish the consistent zone time that I'm sure they would like to. And they've missed a couple opportunities, but otherwise it's been a well-contested game, I'd say, for both sides. Notre Dame's had their fair share of chances as well.
Yeah, and if you're a fan of defensive hockey, this is the game for you. The offensive, the puck's been going back and forth across the rink. Nobody can really keep it in on offense. Notre Dame had that one opportunity where I believe they got 4 shots on goal in a row, but other than that, it's just been single or double shot opportunities. Notre Dame did really have one good opportunity. I thought they were going to put past the net. Blake Biondi got back, had a backhand opportunity. Solieri was up for the challenge.
Gophers take the ice. Period of the long change. As always, Goldie's skating around. He's got a stick. I would actually love to see, similar to mascot football, I would love to see mascot hockey. I think that would be comical.
Oh gosh, if it's anything like what I saw Goldie do in the football edition, I'd love to see him deck a kid or two
in hockey. And I know there are a couple different Goldies that do different sports, but this one's obviously played some hockey in his life, just based on skating ability. And hopefully he'll be bringing out his favorite broom at the end of it. And as the Gophers look to complete the home sweep of the Fighting Irish. But Fighting Irish fans and just people who really go to Notre Dame have bigger fish to fry this weekend, and specifically on Monday. They play for the College Football National Championship against Ohio State, which should be an amazing game. They're certainly not favored in it. I think Ohio State's opening as 6 or so point favorites, and if my money was being placed, I'd put it on Ohio State, but they're there, which is more than the Golden Gophers can say. They did have a really good season and bounced back as faceoff draws chipped out of the stadium and into the stands. But Gopher football, looking back in hindsight, and even just the work that they've done in the transfer portal this season, has been really good. They've gotten a bunch of transfers in from offensive line to running back to cornerback even.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see now that our defensive coordinator did leave, if we can still maintain that defensive identity. I mean, the 2 freshman safeties we have now, Kerry Brown and Coy Parrish, oh my goodness, are they a joy to watch. As Minnesota was able to go 8-5 this season and win the Duke's Mayo Bowl.
Bowl streak stays alive. There's no bowls in hockey, but that would be a pretty creative idea if more teams were to play outside, because on Hockey Day Minnesota, the Golden Gophers have occasionally played outside as they win the draw and Middlestat fires it in. I think outside hockey it's really cool, and it's just a super fun thing to see. Of course, so many Minnesotans grow up playing outside pond hockey. Matthew Wood creates a turnover in the neutral zone ahead for Oliver Moore. I didn't personally grow up playing a ton of pond hockey, but I've played a ton in college.
Yeah, and I think it'd be cool to see. Minnesota was the only Big Ten team that didn't get to go to Wrigley Field to play outside. Notre Dame was able to do that and won a shootout thriller against Penn State.
Ali in the offensive zone drops for Henry Nelson. His shot's blocked by Cal Thomas. Snuggerud along the close boards just does get it out. but he feeds it right back to Ryan Chesley. Snuggerud backhand saucer pass. Tried to find Zemer. Kicked aside by Axel Kumlin. Henry Nelson regroups down low. Still no shots. Minute and a half into period number 2. Cal Thomas bounce pass ahead for Zemer. Good defensive play there by Henry Nelson to stop his chance. Cal Thomas pinches in from the defensive. Snuggerud in the slot. He fires off the mask of Owen Say and high above the netting into the crowd. Boy, Snuggerud was looking for number 4. You could tell it there. He found his way in the slot. Toe drag, and with that quick release of his, just got a piece of Owen Say.
Yeah, Owen Say is very fortunate. He did not see that shot at all. Snuggerud shoots the puck so fast and just flies off his shoulder almost halfway up the crowd.
Hellewell does not clear the zone. Huglin keeps the pressure on for the maroon and gold. Hellewell winds up with it again. Now it deflects out of play and actually hit Eric Paulson on the bench. Another offensive zone draw for the Golden Gophers tonight on the faceoff dot. They're just 7 for 19.
You love the Gophers to be able to keep the zone here. Not very many shots here in the early going, but if they can maintain this pressure on Notre Dame and perhaps get one behind the net, that would certainly change the tide of this game.
Aaron Huglin ejected from the faceoff dot. Lamb wins it in his place. Gruber with a shot in. Boy, that didn't miss by much. Slaggert off the shot ring around the boards. Gets it in the offensive zone for the Fighting Irish. Sharp shot in, shoulder to side by Soulier off the stick of Jursev. Hellewell, spin move, and now back up to the point. Jursev just does keep it in. Hunter Strand for Slaggert in the shot. He scores. Carter Slaggert goes short side on Liam Soulier, shelves it above the blocker, and Notre Dame takes its second lead of the afternoon. Boy, was that an excellent shot by Carter Slaggert, his second of the season.
Yeah, and that one makes you wonder if Nathan Airy was in there. It went just over the right shoulder of Soulier, but that's one pretty goal into the top left of the net. And Notre Dame takes the lead 2-1, something they haven't been able to do in any of the games against the Gophers previously.
Notre Dame keeps the pressure on, and really just that was consistent zone time like we talked about in the mid-period break and like we've talked about throughout the game. There's been a pretty severe lack of that. Notre Dame was able to keep it in the Golden Gopher defensive zone, put pressure on the defense to communicate well, as Notre Dame does not ice the puck. Referees say that the Gophers could have gotten there in time. Hendrickson across for Mason Nevers, who is hit into the boards right in front of the benches by Carpenter. John Middlestad in the offensive zone, and Mason Nevers is just able to keep it in. Fourth line putting in work. John Middlestad spins around Fisher. Now dumps down low for Hendrickson, fighting there with Plusinski. Plusinski beats him to the loose puck. Slaggert from Strand and Jursev is the goal. John Middlestad working it off the boards in the Golden Gopher defensive zone. Mason Nevers across the block M and chips it into the zone, does Hendrickson. Stretch pass ahead, deflected by Ali, and that'll be an icing. He was not across the red line. We'll have a draw in the Golden Gopher offensive zone. 16-17 remaining in period number 2 as Notre Dame has taken another lead.
Yeah, it looked like Notre Dame took my advice that I gave for the Gophers. They were able to just get over there, get a couple of extra opportunities. Gophers could not clear the puck, and they get a goal to equalize, and the Gophers do not win the faceoff.
Kurth didn't keep it in. He was right on the blue line, but jumped from behind it, said the linesman, and faceoff will come outside the zone. Gophers this season, other than the first goal, are not used to playing from behind. It's a different style of hockey. One goal is, of course, a little different than 4 that Notre Dame found themselves down. Shot in from the point, kicked out by Soulier on a great deflection. Ian Murphy was looking for his second such goal of the night. Oliver Moore in the offensive zone with speed in the close corner. Puts on the brakes, looking for a pass up to the point. Finds, he had Matthew Wood back door. Pass was too far. Kester skates around the net and tried to shoot it, just fanned on it and keeps possession. Moore on the close end, short shot and shoveled one out front. Connor Kurth might have had a backhand whack opportunity at it. But no go, and Notre Dame clears the zone. Good offensive zone time there for the second line. If Oliver Moore's pass is just a little bit closer to Matthew Wood, he might have deposited one. Kester keeps the point on the far boards. Now Zemer at the point, played with the high stick by Notre Dame. Zemer in the slot, he fires off the crossbar. Oh, Brody Zemer had a golden opportunity on the high stick play and beat everything but the red iron.
Yeah, he was right out front in the slot, had a clear path at the net, just hits the crossbar.
Oliver Moore hit the crossbar and the inside of the post last night, and Zemer rings the first one of tonight. Face-off win for the Gophers, controlled. Middlestad a long shot, looking for a Paulson deflection that wasn't there. Janicki across for Cole Knuble, the captain, Janicki the captain for this Fighting Irish squad. Maybe a chance. Luke Middlestad offensively gets behind Knuble, driving in, backhand, he scores! Luke Middlestad with an outstanding move, defense to offense. That's his first of the season, like I said, pregame. And oh my goodness, is that an offenseman diving down? He shovels a backhand over the glove side of Owen Say. We're all tied up here in Minneapolis.
Man, I thought that pass was going to be too long for him, but he said he trusted it, gets in, skates around Cole Knuble, and has a beautiful backhand shot off to his right and gets it past Owen Say, and we are tied 2-2.
Luke Middlestad's 8th in a Gopher sweater, assisted by Eric Paulson. At time of the goal, 5:30 into period number 2, and the Gophers answer the bell again. Notre Dame in the offensive zone. Fisher tried a board pass, wound up out front in the slot. Hughlin denied him from a close opportunity. Boy, Luke Middlestad with one of the better solo efforts. Both of the Gophers' goals have been of that ilk, with Jimmy Snuggerud getting the first one on his offensive prowess. It's Luke Middlestad's first on the season. Hunter Strand loses it to Aaron Hughlin. Gophers looking to stretch the ice again. They've done that a couple times. Falloon 2-2 with Lamb. He fires up into the netting off the stick of Kumlin. They've done that a couple times where they just hope for a defensive play where they get possession and just start pushing the offense up the ice as fast as they can. And it's worked out a couple times now.
Yeah, the Gophers have found success on those breakaway opportunities where they're transitioning, catching the Irish with only one defender. Not too much success when they've kept the zone possession, but I'll take 2 transition goals.
And Knuble's a natural offenseman, so that play by Luke Middlestad was against a weaker defender as the Gophers win the draw, and Henderson has it in the close corner. Tried to play it to the point, but Gruba had to exit the zone after some pressure from the Irish, and he flops it back down along the boards. Just a mix-up, and I don't know really how Luke Middlestad ended up being the one skater that came up and out of the offensive play, and Hendrickson's going to draw a penalty here. He was trying to pick Axel Kumlin's pocket and took him down on the play. First one of the night, and Hendrickson's just hustling there, and Kumlin goes down. Fans don't like it, but he was harassing him with the stick pretty well.
Yeah, and that's going to be Notre Dame's really first opportunity on the power play. It was only the 30 seconds after the 4-on-4 yesterday, and they didn't really control the puck for any of that. So it's now up to the Gophers' penalty kill here.
Notre Dame 25.4% on the power play. They win the draw. Fisher mans the point. He has it there, looking for a pass down low. Gives it to Nelson, right back to Fisher. Fisher, Knuble one-timer, blocked Cal Thomas. Fight for it along the boards is not cleared out by Chesley. Fisher gloved and dropped. Nelson across for Knuble on the close circle. Now outside back up top. Gophers playing a diamond defense. And Notre Dame more of an umbrella strategy on the power play. Chesley gambled and missed. Janicki fires. Boy, I don't know if Cal Thomas or Liam Soulier got a piece of that. I might have also caught iron.
Yeah, it looked like Soulier got it off of his left shoulder, but a heck of a job to just elevate and raise up and not let it get past him like he did on the second one.
Chesley gambled there to try and create a turnover and missed. Made the Golden Gophers a bit shorthanded defensively, but Soulier stands tall. Minute 24 remaining in the power play. On the Beckett-Hendrickson hooking penalty. Fisher shot in, that's wide. Looking for Biondi's stick out front. Danny Nelson along the far boards. Back up to the point for Fisher. Lone defenseman for the Fighting Irish on their power play. Gophers have not cleared the zone yet. Fisher, another shot in, deflected, it's loose. Soulier sticks it out of the way and now is able to cover it behind the net. Great play and great vision by the Golden Gopher netminder to get on top of that one.
Yeah, that was a heck of a play by Soulier. Puck was loose off to his right. He takes the gamble, pushes it away with his stick. Knuble gets it back, and he just decides to cover it up and not let anything else happen.
Knuble got to that puck sooner. That's right past Liam Soulier, too.
Yeah, like I said, a gamble, but luckily it paid off.
Huglin against Strand, and Strand wins another draw. Gophers still haven't cleared the zone. Second unit out for the Fighting Irish. Ali works it to the point for Kumlin. Kumlin shot in, saved Soulier. Puck is loose, shovel shot by Ali. Again stonewalled by Soulier. Kumlin along the close boards to the point, or waits and now does pass to the point for Hellewell. Switching sides for Strand, back for Hellewell. Notre Dame, a lot of passing on their power play and a lot of point shots. One-timer blocked out in front. Ryan Chesley leads the team with 42 of them. 20 seconds left in the power play. Dumped in, and Chesley is able to finally clear the zone as the Golden Gophers alleviate some pressure, get some fresh skaters on. In the dying seconds of the penalty kill, they've done a great job blocking dangerous one-time opportunities. Chesley and Cal Thomas both had big ones. As Beckett-Hendrickson back on the ice. So the Golden Gophers go back to 5-on-5 hockey, effective kill against the hot Notre Dame power play. And Notre Dame had, I think, 3 or 4 shots. They're up to 19 on the night. Middlestat skating around a couple men and now into the offensive zone. Wipes out and takes out a man. Fight for it along the boards. And Silanoff controls. Snuggerud trying to create a turnover. Luke Middlestat keeps it in at the point. 2 goal scorers on the ice. Backdoor for Paulson. If that didn't handcuff him, wrap around on the backhand. Tried to find John Middlestat out front. I think Owen Say was able to stop that one. Rinzel fakes a shot. Looked like he wanted to pass it down low for Middlestat. 2 weren't on the same page. And the Irish are able to clear the zone, but good zone possession for the Golden Gophers. Snuggerud with speed. Close side of the blue line, he fires, save Say, and he holds on. Good answer by the Golden Gophers after the penalty kill, but that pass finds Eric Paulson back door. He's going to have a great opportunity against Owen Say.
Unfortunately, Paulson, it just was off to his right. If it had been on the money, there was nobody in front of him except Owen Say.
Danny Nelson wins the draw, and the Irish do end up clearing the zone. Might have been played with a high stick by Ali, and that's going to be offsides. Notre Dame has to check up. Kester starts the drive, and Oliver Moore with speed in the zone for Wood. He fires, save, say. Rebound was loose. Really good two-man play there by Moore and Wood. And the second line keeps the pressure on. Connor Kurth dumps it down low. Wood chips it around Jursev, but the Fighting Irish are the first ones on it. Danny Nelson off the boards, too far for Ian Murphy, one of the two goal scorers. Gophers trying to catch the Fighting Irish in transition. Lamb with speed, driving around his man, and he's tied up and ridden into the boards. Good defensive play out in front by Kumlin. Chesley missed a puck, 2-on-1 for Knuble. He fires and scores. The Fighting Irish go up a goal for the third time tonight on a bad Ryan Chesley turnover in the middle of the ice.
Chesley had a chance to actually make it a Gopher breakaway, but he missed, and there's only one guy home on defense. And Knuble gets it past Souliere.
He had Brennan Ali on the pass, decided not to, and went right through the 5-hole of Liam Souliere, but just another turnover by the Golden Gophers defensively and another fast break goal. Brody Lamb wants to answer back quickly, but he does not. That's Cole Knuble unassisted at 9:44 in the first period. Or not 9:44, excuse me, 9:06. We'll head to the mid-period break. Now 8:57 remaining as Notre Dame has taken a lead once again, 3-2. Shots read 21-20. Golden Gophers here from Minneapolis. You're listening to Radio K Sports. Welcome back. 3M Arena at Mariucci. Jack Bartlett, Tim Serb. 3-2 hockey game for the visitors on Cole Knuble's 9th of the season. Unassisted as he ties two other guys for the team lead. Lamb with a turnover. He fires. That's blocked out in front. He's taken down on the play. No call coming. Winds up with a loose puck. Falloon fires. Saved by Owen Say. And he covers up. Boy, was that a great save by the Fighting Irish netminder.
Yeah, and I think the refs might have missed a high stick. Brody Lamb got smacked in the face by somebody on Notre Dame, but still gets in there and gets that opportunity. And then Falloon in there just missed. Hit the left leg of Say.
He tried to shovel it out from underneath the pad, got trapped there. A face-off win. Renzel snapped his stick on a one-time opportunity after Hughlin won the draw. Gets a fresh one from the bench. That's the equipment manager's job, and they do it well. Ahead for Carter Slaggert. Middlestat has to regroup, and now Gophers work 2-on-2. Lamb had speed, but didn't catch the pass great from August Falloon. Along the close board, spins aside. Lamb looks to have an extra pep in his step on this shift especially. Down low for Falloon. Still the same corner. Gophers trying to work it free and get in space. Falloon trapped down there by Hunter Strand. He is able to get it out. Gruba Looked like he wanted a sharp angle shot, dumps it down low once again. And Falloon has to exit the zone. He was exhausted after that shift. And Notre Dame takes over. Snuggerud almost wound up with a turnover, and Paulson did as well, but Janicki has to retreat into his own zone. And the Fighting Irish look to outlet. 3-on-3 at the line. Knuble, the most recent goal scorer for the Fighting Irish, has it in the offensive zone. Strong play by Leo Gruba to clear the zone, but the Gophers still unable to generate possession. Hellowell across the block M with speed, defense to offense. Knuble looked like he wanted Hellowell to pass that or just move it out of the way as Hellowell lost the handle. Still in the offensive zone for the Irish. Fight for it. Snuggerud unable to come up with it. Now two men either side converging on the boards. Kept it into the point by Jursev. Deflected shot. Pad save Souliere. Good stick. Blake Biondi out in front. And Snuggerud will start offensive play for the Gophers. Zemer to Nevers, fresh on the ice. Nevers pinched off by Cole Knuble, and more effective defensive zone play by the Fighting Irish as the period winds on. Middlestat, turnover at center ice, now around the boards and around the net. He is hit into the boards by a couple different players. Hendrickson looks for support. He's taken down by Jursev in the corner. And another board battle cleared out of the way by the Fighting Irish. Cal Thomas, good deflection on the dump down, and now Middlestat in with speed again. Really good stick there by Cole Knuble, who got beat on the Middlestat goal when he was back forced to play defense. Ryan Chesley almost turned it over once again. His turnover was what really led to that Notre Dame third goal. He had a couple problems with that 2 years ago. Last year really shored up his defensive prowess with not turning the puck over and not making just silly little defensive mistakes. A chance out front off the boards. Chesley had good positioning there, but Nelson fires from the slot after Chesley turned it over again, and it was blocked out in front. Chesley flips it in the zone. Good board bounce for Oliver Moore. Matthew Wood, one-timer. Saved by Owen Say. Those two's connection, but Wood and Oliver Moore have been really tight today.
Yeah, the one that just missed Matthew Wood earlier in the first period would have been a good shot opportunity, but there Wood gets it off, but right into the chest of Owen Say. And I like what I'm seeing from the Gopher offensive prowess right after that Notre Dame goal. Now that the Notre Dame second line is off the ice, one heck of a job by them. The Gophers now look to answer with their own second line.
Oliver Moore generates a turnover. Now Matthew Wood below the net, trying to fight through Plusinski. He is hobbled on the play, and Oliver Moore is going to draw a penalty. Just dove with the stick, trying to stop Strand from getting the puck, and Strand went down right in front of the referee, and the Golden Gophers will be shorthanded for the second time tonight.
Yeah, when he fell over, he just swung his stick right into Hunter Strand, and there's really no reason to even do that.
Just got his stick under Strand's skate, and that's going to be a tripping penalty about every time.
Quite literally the definition of tripping.
Gophers were able to prevent high danger opportunities from Notre Dame via a couple of blocked shots on the first power play, but they're going to look to generate more defensive momentum and maybe get a clear a little earlier on to give their guys a rest. Notre Dame seemed mostly content with passing it along the three parts of the umbrella in the first power play. Fisher for Nelson, back to Fisher. Pass misses Knuble. Cal Thomas knocks him to the ice, but Notre Dame keeps the pressure on. Fisher for Knuble again. He fires up into the netting. I think Souliere got a piece of that with the blocker. Knuble was looking same place he scored his goal in the second.
Yeah, and all the Notre Dame heavy hitters, if I may, are all on the ice for this power play. Janicki, Knuble, Fisher on the top, Danny Nelson and Biondi. Gophers will have to contain them all here.
Face-off win for the Irish, winds up out of the zone. The Gophers get a momentary clear. 30 seconds into the minor penalty to Oliver Moore. Gophers play defense with Huglin, Lamb, Rinzel, and Middlestat. Danny Nelson in the offensive zone. Sticked away by Rinzel. Battle for it along the boards. Knubel's waiting for a one-timer. Sharp angle shot. Turned away by Soulier. And now the Fighting Irish are going to get a penalty.
I think they got Janicek there. Wasn't watching it, but it was on Luke Middlestat.
I think he took Middlestat down on the play and was giving him the business, as they say. So the power play ends prematurely for the Fighting Irish, as one of their best offensive talents and their team captain, Justin Janicki, goes to the box. We'll play a minute and 11, 4-on-4. Had this situation last night for a little bit shorter time, and then the Gophers will get about a 50-second power play.
And these are the opportunities that if you're the Gophers, you want to capitalize on, having a little bit more space, and you have the puck in your zone, but they can't win the faceoff there.
Huglin, Kurth, Middlestat, Kester. 4 on the ice for the Gophers. Then it's Kumlin, Silanoff, Strand, and Henry Nelson for the Fighting Irish. Nelson across the timeline, turnover, and Huglin tried to find Kurth on an outlet. Fighting Irish play it well. Silanoff, sharp angle shot, hits the side of the net. Soulier covers with his blocker. 3:32 remaining in period number 2. Gophers still down 1. But if you look at their period distribution in terms of scoring, even though they've been ahead in a couple of the games that they've played, their third period, they've been outstanding defensively. We'll have to check on what it looks like in the period break, but it's a hefty margin that they're ahead by. They turn it over after the faceoff win, but Fisher lost the handle and winds up out of the offensive zone for the Fighting Irish. Kumlin back pass for Fisher. Fisher's got 12 points on the season, 2 goals, 10 assists. Kumlin, far corner, or close corner, excuse me. Trying to work around Huglin, gives it to Fisher at the point. Still waiting for it. Kester and Kurth switching defensive assignments as Fisher skates with it all the way back out of his zone. And now because the Golden Gophers are on the power play, Fisher can put on the brakes and launch it down the ice. So now it's Middlestat, Lamb, Moore, Kester, and Snuggerud for the short power play. 2:30 remaining in period number 2. Moore across the blue line. Bodied into the boards by Plusinski. Notre Dame, easy, really easy clear as they launch one all the way down to Soulier. Now Rinzel with speed. Gophers like to play where their offensemen are farther back. Snuggerud tried a quick pass for Wood that didn't connect. And the Fighting Irish clear it. Knubel might have a chance short-handed. Good defensive play, and he's laid out by Jimmy Snuggerud. Came across the ice with his head down. There could have been a penalty there as Knubel's slow to get up. Snuggerud from a knee, lost an edge, and the power play is over. Middlestat, top of the circle, finds Snuggerud, back for Wood. He had a wide open cage, and the pass handcuffed him, was in his skates. Kester keeps it in at the point. Gophers looking to pressure at the end of the second period here. Rinzel spins back down low for Snuggerud, and he lost it. He's frustrated about that play. And Snuggerud, boy, did he lay out Cole Knubel.
It's a beautiful hit, football-esque, and Knubel was very slow to get up as he just slowly skates toward the bench after that, gosh, mind-shattering hit. He's going to be feeling that one tomorrow.
Knubel was looking for a pass or looking to shoot. He took a sharp angle shot at Soulier, and it deflected right back to him. Notre Dame tried to clear the zone, but it ends up in the Gopher bench with 1:02 left.
Right there, that's exactly why they teach you to keep your head up, because Jimmy Snuggerud might be right there ready to deck you out.
I currently don't see Knuble on the bench.
He waved his hand up as he was going toward the bench, almost as if he wanted to get concussion checked or something like that, or injury check, if I may.
First line out there for the Gophers. Paulson on the draw. Controlled by Snuggerud. Chip down low. And now under a minute to go as the Fighting Irish play it well again against the first line. They've really limited their chances. Now Ziemer, speaking of chances, one-on-one. He fires off the stick of Kumlin and high. Was in with speed after a neutral zone turnover from the Fighting Irish. Now Henry Nelson across the blue line from a sharp angle, fires at Soulier way up and into the crowd once again over the netting. 30.2 remaining. Shots read 23-24 in favor of the Fighting Irish.
Yeah, and Brody Ziemer had a good opportunity there, but there was a defender cutting him off, not allowing him to get too good of a shot. But just high and wide of Owen Say and the net.
Gophers will change lines, and Ziemer may have had an opportunity had he been able to work his way around Kumlin. Danny Nelson below the net to above the net. Plusinski is shot, a deflection and a kick out by Liam Soulier off of Cole Knubel's stick, so he is fine. That's a really dangerous opportunity there for Knuble. Almost stopped the puck's momentum, and Soulier had to kick that right pad out to keep it from crossing the red line.
Hey, gosh, the Gophers are lucky that Soulier saw that, because he was getting shaded there by Knuble, and it just flips it in and luckily gets the right pad.
Knuble off the faceoff win, shoots it wide. Janicki down low, looking for a shot up top. Knuble back for Fisher. He fires. Blocker saves Soulier. I think that got a part of his stick. They're really looking towards that blocker side as the Gophers clear the zone, and that's the end of the second period. Notre Dame has had 3 one-goal leads, 1-0, 2-1, and the way the score stands at the end of 2 periods, 3-2 from Minneapolis. We'll be back in a couple minutes with a second period recap and get you ready for the third period. Jack and Tim on Radio K Sports. We'll be back in a bit. Welcome back, Golden Gopher hockey. They find themselves down 2-3 at the hands of the visiting Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Tim, what happened in the second period?
Yeah, there were 3 goals in that second period. The first one by Carter Slaggert, just about 2.5 minutes in, assisted by Hunter Strand and Jimmy Jursev. And the Gophers answered right back 3 minutes later. Luke Middlestat with a highlight goal, assisted by Eric Paulson. And then Cole Knuble getting in on the action for the Irish 5 minutes later, assisted by Brennan Ali and Ian Murphy. And Jack, this is really just, on that second goal, just a standout defensive mishap for the Gophers by Ryan Chesley.
Yeah, just really bad turnover by Chesley as he's trying to exit the zone and left Cal Thomas out and on an island. Look up and down the Golden Gopher lineup for plus-minus stats as I'm trying to load them right now. Looks like Falloon and Whipple, Kester, Hughlin and Lamb are all -2. It's a smattering of players that are +1, that being Luke Middlestat, Sam Renzel, actually Snuggerud and Eric Paulson and Zemer, first line +2. So they've really carried the offensive firepower for the Golden Gophers tonight, and that's kind of what we expected yesterday. Obviously the fourth line coming up with a couple of big goals, but what has to change heading into the third period if the Golden Gophers want to come home with this one?
I mean, being realistic here, you need those transition opportunities, and you need them to all go in. Gophers have had a couple of opportunities. For instance, Zemer going off the crossbar. Snuggerud had another open one in the slot. You just got to convert on those that the Gophers are barely missing.
As the time winds down, under 30 seconds to go in period number 3, or 30 seconds to go before period number 3, excuse me. Notre Dame outshot Minnesota in that period 15-9, put 2 past Liam Souliere, and had generally the better of the offensive chances. Gophers had their share, obviously with Zemer hitting the crossbar and even Snuggerud getting a lethal slot opportunity, but I think they might need some more production from their defense, at least with keeping the offensive zone, looking for shots from the point. Like we said, establishing zone time is going to be paramount here in the third period because Notre Dame is a great defensive team, like we said earlier. They can chip and chase all that they want, and kind of until time winds down, if they still find themselves up a goal, just playing the clock game. Ali wins the draw and fires one in on Souliere that he easily gloves and holds.
And interesting to note, almost all of Notre Dame's shots are from the stick side of Souliere. To see if the Gophers can recognize the trend and be able to just cover that side. So I believe all 3 goals have come from that side as well.
Moore controls the draw. Middlestat chips off the boards just out of the zone. Notre Dame flung it in briefly, but Connor Kurth backhand saucer all the way down. Owen Say behind his net, effective outlet pass. Goes the Notre Dame first line. Danny Nelson returns the favor to the Gophers by dumping it down as the Fighting Irish change again. Cal Thomas, nifty move, in with speed along the far side. He fires, blocked out by Henry Nelson. Another try. That one's blocked as well. Snuggerud tried to find someone home in the slot. Knuble intercepts that pass. 3-on-3 for the Fighting Irish. Offsides. Knuble didn't stop soon enough, and the referee was right there to catch him in the act. We'll have a draw outside the zone.
Yeah, and it's really the second line for the Irish that has done most of the damage here today in terms of keeping it in their offensive zone. Cole Knuble, Janicki, just been all over the place. Knuble unable to stay on sides there as he looks up towards the sky, frustrated.
Just wonder where it'll come from the Golden Gophers. They're going to generate chances in this period. But where is it going to come from, and is Owen Say going to be up to the task? He's done well thus far. 3-on-3 at the line. Paulson, long shot, easily shouldered aside. by the aforementioned Owen Say. Notre Dame continues their good transition play by getting a rebound. Zemer knocks Justin Janicki to the ice just briefly, and Blake Biondi ramps his stick into the offensive zone. Turnover, Souliere didn't communicate. Kester, Janicki tried a short-handed opportunity to go over the glove side of Souliere this time. Fired it into the boards. Dumped in by Carter Slaggert. Awkward bounce there. Souliere had to protect that from going into the slot. Falloon starts it. Just missed Brody Lamb, and now Lamb does get to it. Chips it into the offensive zone. Jursev, the first one on it for the Fighting Irish. And again, really effective defensive play and another dump in. Kester stretch pass for Falloon. Couldn't handle it. It's just been back and forth, what I like to call ping pong hockey. Just one way, the other way, one way, the other way. Gruba flips it in this time. See if Golden Gophers can keep it in. Hughlin long shot. Easily handled and held by Owen Say. Maybe a face-off draw win. Gophers just slightly behind, 20-24 on the dot. Their best man on the dot has been Aaron Hughlin, or actually, excuse me, Oliver Moore. He's 7 for 15. Danny Nelson's been great on the dot as well, 10 for 19. Really overall pretty even game from the red dot, but Middlestat is forced to join in. Actually, Mason Nevers had to replace him. Renzel faked a slap shot from the point, tried to play it down low for Nevers. He was pinched off there by the Fighting Irish, and now Hendrickson plays it around for Renzel on the far post. Hendrickson trying to work it free, but Notre Dame hounding defensively. And they will regroup again as the Golden Gophers fail to establish the offensive zone. Middlestat with speed, sticked off of the play by Danny Nelson. The Gophers will have to regroup on once more. Sam Renzel backhand pass, all 5 guys. And referee's calling icing. I thought Renzel was clearly across the red line.
Yeah, the referee down toward the center is, he almost looks confused that the call was made there.
Yeah, and the head referee actually does say that that call will come at center ice, because the referee that was way behind the play for some reason made that call. And the referees conferred quickly and determined that it was incorrect. Face off at center ice. 3 minutes gone here in period number 3. Souliere settles down a dump in. Connor Kurth. Oliver Moore finds Wood, open space, he fires, save by Owen Say. Rebound wasn't there. Ryan Chesley regroups for the Golden Gophers. Really good opportunity for the British Columbia Yukon transfer. Almost a one-timer across for Oliver Moore from Ryan Chesley, but he regroups in the far corner. Wood with a one-timer just wide. On the rebound, Cal Thomas almost had a shot, but Kumlin pinched in. Good work by the second line, but Notre Dame is once again able to clear the zone. Chesley slings a pass ahead for Snuggerud. He finds Paulson. 2-on-2, nifty move, doesn't get around Hellawell, who stands his ground. Gruba across for Kester. Slings it into the offensive zone. Dumpin doesn't find Snuggerud in the corner. Almost found Zemer out in front. Just threw it towards the slot. There's a couple times the Gophers have done that, and it's worked out in their favor, but Zemer's unable to handle it. Notre Dame again content to play more defensive hockey here, just looking to clear the zone.
Yeah, and that's what you really want to do against the Gophers. Is Notre Dame's defense has been so strong since that first period yesterday. You may as well rely on it again here.
Hughlin after the puck as the first line changes off for the Gophers. Knuble recovers for the Fighting Irish to Blake Biondi along the boards. He's Ridden into said boards by Sam Renzel. And fight for it. Controlled by number 2 in the maroon and gold. Falloon across the line. He fires. His shot was blocked. Almost found a carom off the back of the cage. Renzel in the slot. He fires. Blocked out front. Hughlin had an opportunity. Good stick by Paul Fisher. Lamb taken down on the play. Tried to find Hendrickson back door. Deflected away by the Fighting Irish, and a sandwich hit in the middle of the ice by Lamb and Middlestat on Silinoff. Regroup once more. Gophers have 3 shots in this period. Notre Dame yet to test Liam Souliere. Hendrickson fighting for it down low. Gets his way past Plusinski around the net, and now into the far circle. Still being watched by Carpenter. Hendrickson still working in the far corner. Now fight for it to either side. Middlestat up to the point. Chesley fires. Hit a stick out front. Good block by the 4th line, who we haven't seen much of from the Fighting Irish. That was Jaden Davis. Maddox Fleming. Blocked aside by Cal Thomas out in front. John Middlestat supports his defensive partner and does not clear the zone, but Notre Dame will have to vacate, change, and reset. Again, a period of not many whistles. 13:28 remaining in period number 3. Kurth, oh boy, he almost generated a turnover at the blue line. Looks like the Fighting Irish have shifted more to a 3-2 defensive structure where all 3 offensive players are standing on the red line. Moore ends up with a loose puck. Fired shot in the slot. Boy, Connor Kurth had a golden opportunity there.
Yeah, that's my pregame pick to score a goal. I thought he had it there.
Nifty passing play from Oliver Moore to Kurth on the one-timer. Winds up wide of Owen Say. Again, Oliver Moore across the blue line. Back pass, Wood, backhand forehand, he scores! Matthew Wood, Oliver Moore connection. I said it looked good. And the Golden Gophers tie it up at 3. The second line gets on the score sheet, and Wood deposits his 9th on the season.
Gosh, you're right. That connection was beautiful. Moore swings it around from the right side to Wood's backhand, catches it. Owen Say went to the right, was not ready for the backhand, and has an open half of the net, and the Gophers tie it up.
What a play by Matthew Wood and Oliver Moore. We said that those two were on the same wavelength. It'll be Wood from Moore and Kurth. And now Notre Dame. Middlestat's taken down behind the play. Chance out front. Puck is loose. Scramble for it. And Paulson's able to come up with it. Notre Dame can't play that defensive style of hockey. Tied up at 3. Knuble had a golden opportunity. He's taken down by Brody Zemer. Looks like the Notre Dame bench wanted a call there on that play as well. So it'll be Wood from Kurth and Moore. And penalty coming up here against the Fighting Irish. Souliere skated to the bench, but Kester didn't know that there was a penalty on the play. It'll be a slashing call. I didn't see it. I think it was behind the play as Knuble goes to the box.
I think Knuble was working with Brody Lamb, if I was seeing it right. Just gets in there with some unnecessary contact, and in my opinion, a stupid penalty on Knuble, and the Gophers have a chance to take the lead now on the power play. The Gophers, important to note, are 2 for 14 on the power play. Excuse me, 2 for 15 now. I forgot about the one today against the Fighting Irish this season. So let's see if they can capitalize here.
Now the Irish average shade over 9 penalty minutes per game. Their penalty kill sits at 75.7. They win the faceoff draw and get a quick clear here. Go for power play 24.7. Renzel regroups. He almost turned it over right to Landon Slaggert. And now they work in with some momentum. Good stick by Danny Nelson. Clears once again. Power play just hasn't had the same zip. The communication between The forwards and defensemen hasn't been great. The zone entries even. Now they do get a clean one. Snuggerud across for Wood. I almost said Matthew Wood pregame for a score. Lamb in the middle. Great tic-tac-toe from Wood to Moore to Lamb. That was blocked out in front, and Notre Dame clears the zone once more.
Gosh, and that's the opportunity the Golden Gophers wanted. They finally get a good zone entry, get the setup. Good opportunity for Lamb up there, but I think just hit the stick of the guy in front of him. Didn't even get to the goalie.
Bit of a miscommunication as the Gophers were a man short for a moment. Kester holds the zone, and now Notre Dame clears once more. 45 seconds left in the minor penalty to Cole Knuble. Kester passes behind him. The Gophers have used that strategy on the power play a couple times. Zemer in with speed. Trodrag move. Puck was loose and chipped out again by Hunter Strand. Kester gave it right back to Justin Janicki. And with 25 seconds left, the Fighting Irish change all 4 skaters on the ice. In the dying seconds of the power play, let's see if the Gophers can get a chance. Middlestat, close corner, and a fight for it there as the Irish satisfied to kill time. Soulier tapping his stick, and another effective kill by the Fighting Irish. Middlestat trying to generate some offensive momentum. Hughlin close circle, winds around backwards. Chesley at the point, working high to low. Shovels it towards the front. Looks like it caught Say off balance. He actually slipped and fell onto his backside. Turnover by Brody Lamb. Kurth in the slot. 2 defenders there for the Irish. They play it well. Hughlin cannot keep it in. And now an opportunity. Danny Nelson one-on-one with Ryan Chesley. Toe drag move. Good stick by Chesley. And Nelson goes down in a heap. Hughlin outlet pass for Lamb on the far side. Back pass for Hughlin, who fires off a stick and into the netting with 9:27 remaining in period number 3. Tied up at 3, we'll head to the mid-period break after Matthew Woods, 9th of the season from Moore and Kurth, his 2 line mates. Whole new hockey game here from Minneapolis. You're listening to Radio K Sports. Back here from Minneapolis, Gophers offensive zone draw controlled down low by Zemer. Snuggerud tried to help him out, but ended up giving it right back to Axel Kumlin. Stretch pass ahead for Knuble, who had the penalty and the goal that put the Irish up 3-2. Snuggerud tried to sling it across the ice for Paulson. Heads up in the stands. It was a clearing attempt by Danny Nelson, went off Paulson's stick and into the crowd. We've had a couple pucks in the crowd today. I mean, 4 or 5 of them almost.
Yeah, the first one went right into the front row. Someone made a nice catch on it, but these other ones are flying up into the middle parts of the crowd. I hope these people are all right up there.
Gophers need all the points that they can get if they want to catch Michigan State, who will be in action after this game concludes against the Michigan Wolverines. Boston College, who's ranked number 2, currently up 1-0 over Providence in the first period as well. Face-off won by the Gophers. Gruba long shot, easily handled by the body of Owen Say.
Interesting to note, right before the Irish came to town last weekend, They split the series with Michigan, now ranked number 10, with a strong 7-4 victory in the second game. Michigan, who did just beat Michigan State in the first one yesterday.
Puck's dumped out of the zone. That may have been delay game had we been in the NHL, but another puck out of play off Paul Fisher's stick, and Paulson will go on the draw once more. Against Knuble, everyone on this line has a point. Paulson 2 assists for the Paulson Snuggerud Zemer line. Gruba frees it from down low. Boy, Paulson tried to find Zemer loose in the slot. Just missed him. Gruba, another stretch pass for Zemer. Zemer spins away from pressure and didn't get enough on the pass. Notre Dame clears once again, and referees say no icing. Kester goes down in a heap. He looks like he felt that one from Danny Nelson. Fans really want a penalty. Snuggerud tried a shot in the slot. He lost his stick. More on the rebound. Fired it high and wide. I think Snuggerud took a hit to the wrist. Maybe he actually snapped his stick. Maybe it snapped at the handle, or not quite sure, but Gopher captain will get a fresh one from the bench.
Kester looks very shaken up down there on the bench after that huge hit from Danny Nelson.
Kester, a smaller guy than Nelson, who stands at 6'2". Kester's just 5'10". Second line out there again for the Gophers, Kurthmore, Wood. All three of those skaters have a point. Highlighted by Matthew Wood's tying goal here in the third period. Shots 28-26 Golden Gophers. Moore chips the face-off win down low, but the Fighting Irish are the first ones on it. Murphy's outless pass for Ali does not connect. Chesley now behind his net with some speed, does clear the zone. Kerr stretch pass for Wood. Wood looking for a pass, doesn't have it. Blackhand fluttered towards Owen Say, and Oliver Moore is decked on the play. Referees confer to break up the scuffle.
That's Danny Thomas again, getting there after Say already had the puck and going up high with both of his arms on Moore.
Doesn't look like a penalty is going to be called. And Moore's a smaller guy right in front of the student section. They're not happy about it.
That's the second big hit by Danny Thomas in just the last minute and a half here as he heads off the ice. Quite a violent shift for him.
Danny Nelson, not Danny Thomas.
No, Danny Nelson. Cal Thomas, Danny Nelson. Wrong team.
There you go. Referee still having a discussion with Gopher head coach Bob Motzko. He is befuddled as to why that wasn't an interference penalty after the whistle.
And Moore and Nelson were still getting into it as they both headed to the bench. And Moore states out there he's going to take the face off.
Kester has his helmet off on the bench. Referees talking to both head coaches now. Actually, we'll discuss with Jeff Jackson. And they're opening the box of the penalty area for Notre Dame. I don't know. Challenging a major penalty on the play from head coach Bob Motzko as Oliver Moore was decked out in front by Danny Nelson. If Nelson does get ejected from this game, he did take a shot up high from the stick of Nelson, who followed through with his right hand directly into Oliver Moore's face mask.
Yeah, and that's just not a clean play. He went up really high, and the stick caught Moore. Gosh. The fans definitely think that's a major penalty, but that would be a huge loss for Notre Dame.
In retrospect, that's going to be hard to overturn. Referees have made a very quick decision. No major penalty.
The fans are irate here at 3M Arena at Mariucci, because that would have been a golden opportunity for the Gophers to try and score on the power play.
And that's a continuous 5-minute power play that they can score as many times as they want. And with 7:55 remaining in period number 3, That's all but 3 minutes of it. Moore wins the face-off draw after he was decked, but Slaggert is the first one on it for the Irish. Tension's starting to rise in this Big Ten matchup. We're tied at 3. Kumlin down low, Strand. Strand tried to pass. Dances around a couple men. Puck is loose. Chesley's tying up Silanoff. Strand finally able to work it free to the point. Kumlin switches sides for Henry Nelson. Blocked by Matthew Wood. Oliver Moore is not able to clear the zone, a turnover. Hunter Strand fired and blocked by Chesley out front. Chesley's pass was too far for Oliver Moore. As doesn't look to be shaken up by the play at all. Huglin is laid out at center ice by Axel Kumlin after he missed a pass. And these two teams starting to play the physical side a little more now. Strand to the point for Plusinski. Switches for a long shot in, dies in traffic, and Renzel sticks it out of harm's way. Huglin chips around Davis as he crumples into the boards. Fighting Irish, the first one on it once more, all the way down the ice, and that'll be an icing call. Renzel beats Davis to it. Gophers will have an offensive zone draw with 6:42 remaining. They've had definitely the better opportunities in this period. I think Notre Dame might have just one shot to their name. Gophers have 7.
Yeah, the Irish had, I think, only the one breakaway opportunity. Every single time they've been into the zone, there's been deflections. Chesley playing very good defense in this period after last period's crucial mistake.
And I think we have a timeout taken here. I didn't hear which team took it.
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame takes the timeout as they are under siege a bit, and head coach Jeff Jackson wants to calm the nerves and stem the tide of the Golden Gopher offensive press, which has ratcheted up here in the last couple minutes as we take a break. We'll be back after a quick commercial break here from Minneapolis 3-3. Welcome back to Minneapolis. Crowd starting to get into it, as yesterday they kind of went uninvested after a 5-goal first period from the Golden Gophers. This one's been a tightly contested contest. We have a tie-up along the far corner. Huglin frees it, but gives it right to Brennan Ali. Taken down behind the play is Huglin by Paul Fisher. Fans continue to get into the game. Middlestat hits Murphy in retaliation along the boards, and that generates a cheer from the fans. This is the type of hockey you love to see in the Big Ten. Two, I wouldn't say bitter rivals, but rivals certainly, going head to head. Even in a regular season matchup, seeing this kind of emotion is what makes you love hockey as a Minnesotan. Renzel dumps it down, but he was in front of the red line. Referees will call an icing. 5:54 remaining in period number 3.
Yeah, the Gophers definitely a little more riled up in this one than the last game. It's good to see that they have that fight in them, as Notre Dame is perhaps taking a bit of the frustration of the season out on the Gophers.
Draw will be Paulson against Knuble. Knuble wins it, but nobody in particular controls it. Gophers just work it out of the zone. Renzel, his clearing attempt hit Knuble's stick, and the Irish keep the pressure on. Paulson on a loose puck, plays down low for Leo Gruba. Off the boards for Ziemer, who chips it into the zone. Paulson towards the far corner. I don't know why he really spun away from the puck there. Fighting Irish break out. Janicki gets it around Gruba. And the Gophers turn back the other direction with Snuggerud. Zemer in the zone. Tried to find Snuggerud to get past Knubel. Pass didn't connect, but Snuggerud winds up with it. He turns around and fires a blind shot. Nowhere close to Owen Say. Zemer, first line seems dead tired for the Golden Gophers as Zemer's been out there for about a minute and a half. Snuggerud and Paulson were able to get off, and now a long shot in from Chesley on the dump. Sticked away by Owen Say. Fourth line out there for the Gophers. 4.5 remaining. Turnover by Ryan Chesley. Strand had great positioning. He wraps around the net. Finds Jursev in the slot. His shot was blocked out by Cal Thomas. Hellewell pinching in. Great stick there by Mason Nevers. Clears the zone. Middlestat with Hendrickson. Along the far boards. Tries to find Cal Thomas pinching in. If that pass connected, Cal Thomas has got a great opportunity. Oh, that was right there.
Just missed his foot there. Just a little bit behind him. That's a missed opportunity there for the Gophers.
First line out again for the Fighting Irish. They're seeing a lot more time here as the game continues to run. 3:53 in period number 3. Middlestat holds the zone. Really good job there. On a clearing attempt, Oliver Moore in the close corner. Tried to sling a pass back door for Rinzel. Murphy was positioned perfectly, but the Irish fling it all the way down the ice for another offensive zone draw. The Gophers have pulled ahead, actually pulled to even on the faceoff dot, 28-28.
And that's what you like to see. Danny Nelson, a very good faceoff worker in there, and the Gophers, just when they win those faceoffs, they have more opportunities to stay in their offensive zone and keep the pressure on and try to get that leading goal that they've been so desperately trying to get for the past 10 minutes here.
Wood along the close boards. Plays to the point for Middlestat. Dumps down low. Kurth. Ooh, almost found Matthew Wood on the play behind the net. Ali clears the zone. In with speed as Murphy drives the net. Cleared out of harm's way. Good play. Gophers have numbers. 3-on-2. Rinzel, Moore, Kurth. Moore works his way around Kumlin, but Kumlin stripped him of the puck momentarily. Moore putting on a couple spin moves. Back down low for Kurth. Lamb falls down on the play. Fans wanted a call. I think he just lost an edge.
I think Danny Nelson lost his stick or something that caused him to trip. I'm not sure if he threw it or not, but the fans sure seemed to think so.
Hughlin, couple nifty moves. Sorry to interrupt it, Tim. Almost had a golden goal. And was defended well by Kumlin. Falloon pinned up against the boards. Kester, good to see him back on the ice after he took a hard hit. Oh, pass up to Hughlin at the top of the circle, didn't connect. 2:23 remaining in period number 3. The extra session has not been kind to the Golden Gophers, especially once they get to the shootout tie format that college hockey does. They haven't won since 2021 in the shootout. Snuggerud. First line back out for the Golden Gophers, actually just Snuggerud. The rest of the men work their way on. Rinzel at the point. Janicki sticks him away from it. Had a rush, but Middlestat luckily back there defensively. Now a minute 51. Snuggerud. Chance fakes the slap shot. He fires. Blocker save by Say. Boy, Snuggerud got all of that shot.
Yeah, Snuggerud with 2 defenders, 1v2, just decides to get to the outside and take a shot at it. And Owen Say was up to the task there, gets the blocker on it.
That is an unbelievable amount of power on that shot from number 81.
Just a flick of the wrist, and it, gosh, the kickback from it almost spun him out.
104 seconds to go in period 3. Moore controls the draw. He finds it down low. Kurth almost had an opportunity there in the slot. Kester at the point. He fires off of Slaggert's stick, right back to Kester. Down low. Fight for it. Kurth taken down on the play again. Still no call coming from the referees. That one was right there, right in front of the referees as Strand fires wide. Kurth flips ahead. Hendrickson was slow to get going there, coming fresh off the bench, and loses a puck race to Paul Fisher.
Yeah, but that was the other Nelson, Henry Nelson, who may have gotten away with a trip there.
Gruba along the boards, too far for Snuggerud. Hunter Strand in the far corner for the Fighting Irish. Just 2 shots for Notre Dame in the period, but they can generate anything out of anywhere. If you let them keep the zone shot in, kicked out by Souliere. Long point shot. Gophers look for a late goal. First line out there for him. Snuggerud tried to find Paulson in the middle, and a 3-on-2 coming for the Fighting Irish. They delay a little bit, and the Gophers are able to come back defensively. The Irish are offside with 27.2.
It's good composure there by the Gophers defense and Souliere to be able to just fend off that Notre Dame attack. They had numbers there. Couldn't really get too clean of a shot, though.
Send the Huglin line out for the last 27 seconds. It'll be the first line answering the bell for the Fighting Irish. Neutral zone draw. We're knotted up at 3. Irish control. Kumlin back for Hellawell. Dumped in by the Fighting Irish. Thomas able to chip it. Out, not quite out, but Brody Lamb winds up with a loose puck. Dumps it down into the far corner. Huglin, the first one on it, as the Fighting Irish look to play the time game. Kumlin down in a heap, and the time will expire. We'll have free hockey here from Minneapolis. 3-3 knotted up after 3 periods. Gophers get the lone goal in the third. Matthew Wood at 12:46 from Oliver Moore and Connor Kurth. His 9th on the season, and nothing else as the Golden Gophers put 9 shots at Owen Say, and he stops 8 of them. Fighting Irish just with 2. We'll head to overtime here from Minneapolis after a brief break and get you ready for what should be an extremely entertaining extra session. Overtime here from 3M Arena at Mariucci. Jack Bartlett and Tim Serb from the Radio K Sports broadcast booth. Boy, that was an entertaining third period, Tim. What did you notice, and what can the Gophers do here in overtime to get one past Owen Say?
Boy, it is getting awfully chippy down there on the ice. Danny Nelson with a couple of huge hits, as well as Axel Kumlin, that go uncalled, and the Gophers are completely fired up. They've had a lot of offensive opportunities, and I'd look for that first and second line. Snuggerud starting on the ice, just to use those 3 guys, try and get Snuggerud a little bit of separation and get a shot. That's what I'd be looking for.
3-on-3 overtime. It's Huglin, Snuggerud, Renzel against Danny Nelson, Justin Janicki, and Paul Fisher. Irish have the first crack at it. 3-on-3 is all about puck possession, finding open spaces and playing good defense. Fisher across the blue line. watched by Huglin. 5-minute overtime period, and then we'll go to a shootout. Janicki at the point, watched by Snuggerud. He has to spin back once more. And out of the zone. On 3-on-3, you better be sure that you're going to have a chance at a goal if you're going to shoot it. Janicki in the offensive zone, wraps the net, still watched by Rinzel. Gophers playing stout defense, and the Irish not satisfied with any of the shot opportunities. Middlestat changes for Rinzel. Chance on the back door, missed Blake Biondi as Middlestat was coming on. Great play by the Irish. Luke Middlestat fighting, he's taken down on the play. No call coming. Knuble, close corner. Up for Kumlin, back to Knuble. Watched by Huglin, and out of the zone once more. Gophers have yet to touch the puck in the extra session. Knuble delays, finds Kumlin, who regroups once more. Oliver Moore sneaks onto the ice for the Golden Gophers. Strand in the offensive, or that's Biondi, excuse me, up for Strand, who again regroups out of the zone. 3:22 and counting in period number 1. Fans are letting hear it. Silanoff on the back door, watched by Oliver Moore. Maybe a chance to generate possession here for the Gophers, and they can't do it. Silanoff, close post. Up for Strand, switches places with Nelson, still has the puck. Over for Silanoff, under 3 to go. Gophers yet to touch it in the middle. Dangerous opportunity there. I think that caught Hunter Strand's stick. Another regroup from the Fighting Irish. Fans aren't happy about it, but this is how you play 3-on-3 hockey.
Yeah, the Irish have had possession the entire period as we now approach the halfway mark of overtime. It just looks like monkey in the middle out there.
Moore, Wood, and Middlestat, the 3 skaters on the ice. Nelson cuts to the middle, he fires. Missed Souliere. Wood takes his man down in the corner, but the Irish still have possession. Janicki working around Middlestat, puts on the brakes on the far side. 2:13 remaining. Gophers still haven't touched it. This is sound 3-on-3 play. Fisher drives the net, saves Souliere! 6 the right pad out and denies Paul Fisher on the drive. Under 2 minutes to go. Danny Nelson across the blue line. He fires, covered up by Souliere, and they finally get a stoppage with 1:53. Boy, the Gophers need to win this face-off and at least get an opportunity to go down towards Owen Say.
Yeah, the Gophers, it's hard to say that there's something they've done wrong this overtime, because they've been playing some very good defense. Notre Dame's just been toying with it and just going in and out of the zone and wasting time, almost as if they're content with a tie as they win the face-off here, so the Gophers will not get to touch it.
Kumlin regroups. Now it's Lamb, Middlestat, John Middlestat, and Ryan Chesley opposing Knuble, Biondi, and Kumlin. Kumlin regroups outside for Biondi. 1:30 remaining in the overtime session. Puck misses Knuble, and the Gophers finally have possession. Biondi wants to take it right back. Chesley, and he loses the puck. There might have been a holding call on that play. Knuble has it at the top of the circle. Dances around Middlestat, slides Biondi, and he scores. Notre Dame knocks off the Golden Gophers. 4-3 in overtime with 1:14 remaining, and the Golden Gophers don't even touch the puck.
And that's insane. The time the Gophers get the puck, Ryan Chesley tied up. The referees elect not to call it, and Notre Dame comes right in, and with 1:14 left in the period, takes home the victory.
Man, that's just really tough overtime period there. Biondi from Knuble, his 8th on the season, and Knuble with multiple points and extends his team leading 25th point. But man, just what could have been in this Gopher hockey game if they didn't really start out flat. I mean, give credit to Owen Say and the Fighting Irish defensemen. They played outstanding in this game, and really played well in that overtime session, controlling the puck possession and not letting the boos from the crowd get to them as they regrouped and regrouped and regrouped. And as Chesley was tied up on that last play, a miscommunication and a one-time shot from Blake Biondi wins it for the Fighting Irish.
And that's back-to-back weekends. They've gotten wins over top 10 teams for the Irish. And like I said, there's a reason that they were ranked in the preseason. They just haven't been able to get it done in the Big Ten, and they've now stolen a win from Minnesota here.
There's nothing Souliere can do on that play. He's trying to move right to left, just basically threw his blocker at it, but no chance for the Notre Dame or the Golden Gopher netminder. So he's tagged for 4. That will surely bring his goals allowed average up. Shots read 33-31 in favor of the Golden Gophers, but Blake Biondi scores the overtime winner from actually Knuble and Kumlin. Fans booing the referees off the ice.
I don't particularly blame them in this situation, but in a game that really in that third period was defined by the Gophers possessing the puck, getting some great opportunities to score, and then that overtime period where other than Chesley having it but not really possessing the puck for the Gophers, Notre Dame just had the puck the entire time, and it's hard to win an overtime game like that.
Yeah, and it's just questionable as to the Chesley turnover, notably, that led to the third goal was tough, and especially the Golden Gophers' kind of lack of offensive spark at times in this game really led to their downfall, especially throughout times in the first period. Really every period, there was some point where the Golden Gophers had a pretty severe lack of offensive muster and really keeping the puck in the zone like they did in the first game, obviously getting up 5 goals and then kind of playing conservatively. Most of their goals were off the rush, and that's not always going to be a strategy that works if you're going to play a sound defensive team like the Fighting Irish.
Yeah, and I think the Golden Gophers, from the way they came out in the first period, it almost looked like they just marched in here today and were just expecting a win and a sweep here of Notre Dame. They didn't realize that this is a Big Ten matchup and anybody can beat anybody on any given day, and Notre Dame shows it here.
So we'll be back on Radio K Sports, a basketball broadcast. Tim and I will be calling the game as the Golden Gophers look to continue their home momentum after the Dawson Garcia buzzer beater against the Oregon Ducks next Saturday. Not sure what time that game is at. Our next hockey broadcast will be on the 31st of January as the rival Wisconsin Badgers come to town and do battle with the maroon and gold. They fall in this matchup 3-4 against the Fighting Irish. Jack Bartlett and Tim Serbs saying thank you for listening, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you have a great rest of your night. And as always, Sky